Hello and welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic once again, and welcome to another series with KingTech Coding Clinic. And as you know, what we do is to teach you basic things you need to know about computer programming. It is not actually easy learning computer programming as a beginner, and all what you do is to write codes and only print them in console. Okay. Meanwhile, what you want to see yourself building is real world applications at a go. Okay. So with this in mind, we decided to prepare these amazing beginner-friendly tutorials on VBA in Excel. Okay, so basically, what is VBA in Excel? VBA in Excel, which is Visual Basic for Application, is a computer programming language developed and owned by Microsoft. Okay, now with VBA, what can you do? You can create macros to automate repetitive words and tasks and data processing functions, okay, and generate custom forms, graphs, and reports. So that is that about VBA. And in this tutorial, we're going to teach you everything you need to know about VBA from scratch. Okay, you don't need any experience to start this programming. We are going to create 4 powerful Excel applications. We believe in what? Doing whilst learning. We create projects to make you understand how the language works. Okay, so we're going to create these 4 powerful applications, and the first one is what? Automatic quiz application in Excel. Okay, an application that is going to help you automate quizzes for your student in class or whatever. The second one is what? Bulk file converter. Okay, an application that can be used to convert multiple files, okay, from one file to another. That is from Word to PDF, from Excel to Word, from Excel to P, and all that. Okay, so talking of this particular application, this is where it is not just you converting one application and then to the other. Okay, what is going to happen is this: you're going to put all these applications in one folder and convert them even if it is more than 1,000 applications. With just a click of a mouse, you can just convert them from one file type to the other. That is what we shall be creating. And also the third one is what? Church application, a basic and amazing system for your church. Okay, all is going to be created with what? Microsoft VBA in Excel. And then the final one is what? Bulk email sender application, an application that is going to help us what? Send bulk emails to our customers and all that. So basically that is that. And now this is what is going to happen after we created one of our applications, that is a famous school management system. After the creation of this school management system in Excel, we had a lot of suggestions from our users on how they can add other features to the school management system all by themselves. Okay, but now here we are with all this in mind. We've decided to prepare this amazing tutorial. So after this tutorial, you will be able to what? Re-engineer the school management system the way you want it. Okay, you can add features all by yourself. Whatever you would want to do, you can do that, because now you now know the language. When we're learning the school management system, what we did was to copy the codes and paste. But here I'm going to explain every single line of code for you to understand and know how this VBA works. Okay, so therefore these lessons are going to be in series, okay, to be coming one after the other. So just make sure you subscribe to the channel and always anticipate for them. Just make sure to press the bell icon so that anytime we drop a video on this, you receive the notification and begin following the tutorial at a go. So basically that is that. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, comment, like, and share. And with the school management system I'm just talking about, if you are new on this channel, you can have the link on the description in the video below, and then you can see how the school management system is and watch the videos on how the school management system we are talking about has been created. It's an amazing school management system which take care of what? Student data, teachers data, MS data, payments and receipts, invoices, and a lot of powerful functionalities and features for the school management system. So you can check the link in the video description below and go ahead and see how it works. So thank you and see you in the lesson. So let's delve right into the lesson. Hello and welcome to the first lesson in our VBA programming course. And in this lesson, we'll learn how to set up the development environment, get familiar with the code editor, learn some important shortcuts and tools we will use when writing our codes. We'll also look at some Excel objects and learn how to use them in our program. We'll also look at functions, sub-procedures, and how to write comments, and also how to call functions and a lot more. So that is that. Sorry. Let's quickly look at that. So to start with, we did a folder where we're going to organize our stuff. So just create a folder and give it the name of our choice, right? I'm going to name my VBA training. So I don't know how you're going to name yours. So that is that. So you just double click to open the folder. Here, right click and then go to new and choose Microsoft Excel. So you can choose to name it whatever you want. Let me name my VBA training again. Good. So let me just double press the enter key to open the file. When the file is open, we need to save it as a macro enable workbook, else we can't run our modules, or we can't, when we write our codes, we can't execute them. So to do that, we just have to go to file, go to save as, you choose your folder, you maintain the name if you like, and then you click on this drop down arrow, then you choose macro enabled workbook, click on save. So you can see that the name has changed from Excel SX to what? Excel SN. Now these file extensions differentiate between the macro enable workbook and then the non-macro enable workbook. Let's close this and check on something here. Now you can see the difference between the two. This is the macro enable and this is the one without macro. So with this, when you write macro in this, you can't run it in. So you just have to delete this one. So this is what you shall be using. So basically that is that. So let's just double click to open this. So first thing first, we need to open our code editor. So to do that, we go to developer tab. Maybe if you don't have the developer tab, what you need to do is just to go to options. Go to file, you come to options, then you look for customize ribbon, choose it, and you make sure that the developer, this is it, the developer here is checked, is enabled. You make sure you select it, then you click on OK, so that I should have it enabled here. So then you are done. Now the next thing for us to do is just to open our code editor right now. So we go to developer, come to Visual Basic, and then we have it open. So let me close it. Now the shortcut key we can use to do that is what? We have that is Alt F11, Alt then F11, then you open the code editor just like that. So basically take note of this shortcut, it's very useful. Now the next thing we shall do is just to insert a module, right? So here, this is where we shall be writing our code. Okay, so let's insert the first module where we shall be writing the code. So just go to insert, go to module, and then that is that you have the module here. So this is it. So we just have to rename it. If you like, you can maintain it like this, but to make your code structured so that you can easily reread them, understand what each and every module is intended for, you just have to name them, right? So it's a very good practice in programming. So let's do that. So we can see, oh sorry, let's see, I want to say VBA. Okay, how would I say? Okay, test one. Just maybe okay, let me just name it test. Okay, test one is okay. So that is that. So just double click to have it open like this. Just double click and then you make sure that it's open. The moment you do that, now here we can write our codes here. Very good. So now first, let's begin with writing our codes. Now basically there are two forms of codes we can write in here. One is called the sub procedure. We do see sub, this sub, that, and then all that. So we will now understand them perfectly, right? So basically that is that.
One is called the sub procedure, and then the other one is called the function. Now, what does the function do? Basically, what function does is that it returns a value. We are already familiar with the functions, right? We do use some functions in Excel. Let's look at some example here. Let's minimize this and use our Excel here. So now, let's click inside one of the cells and just type equal to, then you just type sum. You open your brackets, then you type two numbers. So one number, comma, you add another one, then you close your bracket. When you press enter, you can see that it returns a value, right? So that is what the sum function does. We have other functions like the VLOOKUP and all that. Good. So basically, that is what the function does. It returns a value. So now let's quickly switch back to our code editor. Now, to start with, we're going to write. Let's say, let's start writing our first procedure. Okay, so let's write our first procedure. So let's say we want to write a very simple line of code to give us a welcome message, right? Like hello, welcome back, or something like that. So to do that, we're going to use the sub procedure. So to start with, you just type sub here, then you give it a name. I want to say, sorry, I want to say greet user. So I'll do that. Close and open parenthesis, then you type, you press enter, and you have the end sub automatically completed for you. So in between here, we're going to write our code, right? So here we're going to write our code. So here we're going to write. So we said what we are going to write is that we want to just write a very simple line of code to give us a welcome message, right? So we just say message box. But then let's look at something to start with. Anytime you finish writing your sub or maybe function procedures like this, just press Ctrl J, and then you have the options to start with. This will give you all the methods you can start writing with. Maybe if you know the functionalities of all these properties, you can choose to just select it and then you tab it over, and then you have it there. So basically that is that. So here we're going to use a message keyword, right? So you say message box. Then what should be our message? We want to say welcome, right? Welcome. Perfect. So that is that. When we run this, we should have welcome message. So basically that is that. So that is that. This is the first line of code. So the moment you do this, it means you've just written your first VBA programming or VBA program. So basically that is that. Now the next thing we shall be looking at is what we call comments. Now comments are very useful in programming, right? What does comment do? We use comment to explain further what our lines of codes do. As a programmer, as we write our codes, what happens is that at a point in time, you come back to these same codes that you have written and you forget of what they do because you have other things you do afterwards, right? You write other programs, so you can't keep everything in the head. So the best practice is that you comment inside your code. You explain what each and every line of code does. So you write a comment to explain it. So the next time you come, you just read the comment and you know what that code does. And then you don't have to rewrite it again. Maybe you would want to use it somewhere. You just have to copy it, go and paste it there and do the necessary editing, right? So basically that is that. Now, how do we write comment in programming? Let's just do this. Let's say we want to explain further about what this sub procedure does. So we're going to write a comment. So we just use let's an inverted comma, just one of it, and then you explain. Maybe let's say this is a greeting message. Okay, this sorry, this is a greeting message. Perfect. So that is that. You can see that it is what the color changed to what green, so it means I've just commented it out. So even this line of code, I can easily comment it out by introducing the inverted comma, just one at the end there, then it's commented out. It means whenever we run our code, nothing is going to be run here. You see that it's not working, there is the macro is not executed, but the moment I've just remove the comment and rerun it, it's going to be run perfectly. So you can see welcome message. So this line of code is not going to be executed whenever we run. It's just a comment. It's telling us more about what our line of code basically do. So that is that. Now let's look at another example of a function, or let's look at the example of a function rather. So what we have just written here is what we call the sub procedure. So we use this to write our codes, and we also use functions to also write our codes. Now let's look at an example of a function, right? For example, let's say to check for an existence of a sheet before you do anything with it. Right now we have just created only one sheet here, that is sheet 1. Okay, maybe let's assume we have multiple sheets here, a lot of sheets here, sheet 1, or maybe with their names and all that. We want to do something which we shall be doing in a couple of minutes, right? Or in our upcoming lessons. Okay, let's say we want to refer to one of the sheets and then do something, maybe copy some content and paste on that particular sheet. So we just have to refer the sheet by its name, right? So that is that. Now we use functions to check on all these things, to check and make sure that the sheet is actually there before you do whatever you want to do with it. If it is not there and then you refer to it, you receive an error like maybe object required or object not found. Basically, that is that. So let's look at how we can write, let's say, what's the name, function. Okay, so to start with, first of all, let's say we want to write a function to return maybe some value. Okay, we want to write a simple function to return some value. So let's quickly check on that. So let's go to code editor back. So to write a function, so we use the function keyword. Okay, so we just say function, then you give it a name. Okay, so I would want to say app user. So you can give it a name of your choice, but please, in naming a function, let me just make this very clear. It's just like naming of variables. All the good practices we have in writing or naming our variables, we don't start them with numbers. We don't leave white spaces between them. Maybe you want to use two words to name your function or maybe variable. You don't leave a space. Example, I want to use app user. After writing the app, I don't need to bring space. Instead of the space, either I use an underscore or a number or maybe a dollar sign just to close the white space, or you just combine it maybe by using camel key. So the first letter for each and every word should start with what, a capital letter. So in this case I will use that. Okay, it's a very good practice, so you follow that. You just press enter and then you have end function. So that is the function is now created. So whatever code that is written in between here is going to be what, executed as a function. So basically that is that. Now let's write a function to return whatever we want. So let's say this one is here, app user. So that's the name of our function. So we want to set it to what, something like maybe king. Okay, so now let's check on something right now. Why we just copy this? Okay, we just copy this, Control C to copy this. Now we go to our Excel sheet, click inside here, type equal to Control V to paste. When you press enter, it should return the king because we have assigned this app user to what, king there. So basically that is what function does. Like we said, function does what, it returns a value. So it has just done that for us to see. Now let's say we want to make it dynamic. Okay, that is, we want to return the username for this office application. Now this office application, as we see, it has a username. Okay, so let's say we want to make it dynamic so that it can return the username for us. So to do that, first of all, let's confirm the username for this office application. To do that, we go to file, we go to options. So here you can see username. So the name is what, KingTech. That is the username. So you can also refer to yours and just check the username of yours. So after referring to the username and then you're able to see the username, you can quickly go back. So let's cancel this, go back to our text editor. So here we would want to what, assign our app user function to what, the username method. So we say application. Which application are we referring to? We are referring to what, the office application dot, and we use the user name. We just tab it over and then you have this. So now our app user is now set to what, application dot what, username. We are talking of the username for this application. So now let's just copy this again, Control C to copy this, and then let's quickly go back to our Excel sheet, click inside here, type equal to control V to if you press enter, it returns what? KingTech. Have you seen it? It returns KingTech. So basically that is that. Now let's just go back and change our username and see whether what's going to happen here now. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just go back here. Sorry, let's minimize this, go this way, fresh. So I want to change it to what? Maybe coding clinic. So click on OK. It's now changed. Okay. So let me just click inside here, equal to control V to paste it. So it returns coding clinic. So basically that is that. So basically that is that. You can see now the app user is no more KingTech, it's now what? Coding clinic. So that is that. Let's written our first function in VBA. We'll be using them practically. For now, we are just learning how to write them. Okay, so basically, and that is how it works. Now, let's say we want to use what we have just written so far. Okay, to receive, let's say, a welcome message. Right, like welcome. Then it mentioned the name of the app user. Okay, maybe something like a welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic, maybe something like that. I would want to write that. So in this case, we are going to be using another keyword in programming called concatenation. Now, what is concatenation? Concatenation simply means what? Joining strings together using its plus sign. In some languages like Python, we use plus sign to concatenate two strings, or a string and an integer, or a string and a float and all that. Okay, so to concatenate means to use a plus sign to join, but in this VBA we don't use plus sign, we use what? The ampersand to do that. So let's see how that is done. Let's see how we can achieve that. So we go back to our sub procedure. So we say welcome to. So we are going to be using our app name, okay, the username. So we say welcome to. So we're going to concatenate this. So we use the ampersand to do that. So we're going to use our app user. So the app user is what? This. So just add it there. So app user now. So when we run this, you should receive something like this: welcome to Coding Clinic. Now why Coding Clinic? Because I need to add something like KingTech. Okay, so let me just add KingTech here. KingTech. So the Coding Clinic is already where? It's already here. It's already here. So that is what we are referring to. That is the app user function. Okay, so close this. Go back to our code editor. Please a minute, I'm coming. Good. So now let's just rerun it and see what's going to happen here. So welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic. Perfect. We've just written another simple program. That is that. So here, that is how programs are written. So you can see that VBA is a very simple language, right? Now let's move on. Now let's see another thing. What we need to know is that codes run line by line. Okay, it goes from one line to another. The first line gets executed, it comes to the second line, to the third line, to the fourth line, to the last line, and then it displays what? The output, or maybe whatever the results, okay, for you to see. Basically that is what it does. So to confirm that, we use the F8 key to check on that. So let's see how that happens. So we just click here. Okay, so after clicking there, just that is the first line of code, right? Just after clicking there, so you press the F8 key, that is the function key. So you press it like this, so you can see that it is highlighted here. It means it is running. Now, to those of you who have already taken some courses with us, that is some of the Excel applications creations that we've done so far, you can see that when there is an error and you debug it, this is what you see. It means when that line of code is running, there is an error there, so it stopped there, and then you have to debug and fix that error before you move. But if there is no error, it will proceed. Okay, so now let's press F8 again. So you can see that it skipped this one. Why? Because it is a comment. Like we said, comments are not executed. Okay, so it skipped it. So press it again. So it's moving on to the next one, that is a function. Now press it again, It's now on the application, that is the app user application of username. You press this again, and then finally when you press it, it should execute and then return the value for us. So that is that. You can see that it has finished execution. But now you just click on this, and then it runs once, like just a twinkle of an eye, then it starts running. But naturally, that is how it runs. It runs line by line. And like I said, that is what we use the F8 key, that is the function key, to check on that, how the code run line by line. So basically, that is that. Now let's see that. Let's say we want to receive a welcome message whenever we open up this workbook. Okay, when we open up this particular workbook, we want to receive a welcome message, like let's say welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic, right? So that is that. So something like that, welcome to, or maybe how will I put it? Yeah, sure, maybe yes, welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic. This same thing, we want to receive this message. So to do that, we just have to double click. Okay, first of all, let's copy this. We have already created a sub procedure. So this is what we are running. All this is executed using this name. So whenever we call this name, these codes are executed. So we want to copy this. We want to copy this and then use it to return that. So whenever we open a workbook, we receive that message. So we copy the sub procedure's name. Double click to open this workbook. Then here you click this drop down arrow, then you choose this. So in between here, you just paste this. Sorry, please a minute, I'm coming. After pasting this, so you can just control it, save it. So we are done. So when we are done, so we can just what we name. So let's say let's close our workbook now and see something. So now let's reopen it and see something here. So you can see welcome to KingTech Connect. Let's confirm that once again. Let's save it. Let's reopen it again. Welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic. So basically that is that. So let me just walk you through once again what we have just done so far, and then let's check on that. So let's quickly go back to our code editor. So Alt F11. So we just have to use that to speed up our work. So we have that. So first of all, what we did is we learned how to write our sub procedure and then the function. Now the sub procedure, as we said, is what we are seeing here now. Just write sub, give it a name of your choice. Now the best practice is you don't leave space. If you're going to use multiple words to give it a name, you don't leave space. Instead of space, use a camel case, that is the first letter for each word should be capital, or use the underscore to close the white space, or use a number. And we don't begin writing them with what? A number. It's the same thing applies to what the functions. So that is how it's done. Then after that, whenever you write here, it's going to be executed whenever this particular name is mentioned or is called. So basically that is that. Now first of all, we say you want to return a message. So whenever you want to return a message in what? VBA, you call this particular function message box. Then your message should be in between what? Inverted commas. So that is that. Here, what have we done? Here, let me just clear this 1 second so I just understand this perfectly. Naturally, it should be our message. Okay, so if we should run this, we just receive a message like welcome to KingTech. So that is that. Now what did we do? We just said we wanted to say welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic, but then we wanted to use a function which we have created and refer to what the username for this particular application, which we have already seen. Let's go back there. This we can change it. It's dynamic, right? We can change it and then save it, and then we have it display wherever you want it. So we close this and then we go back to our code editor. So we wanted to say welcome to what? KingTech, and then we add coding clinic, and the coding clinic is the name of what? Our function, sorry, is the name of what? The user application, the name of this particular application. That is the username for this particular application. So we have created a function for that, and we have assigned the function name to that particular what? User application name, and that is what the KingTech code, sorry, the coding clinic. So we wanted that to what? We join with this so that it reads welcome to what? KingTech Coding Clinic, which we have done. So click here, then we give a space, then we use what? Concatenation. Like I said, we use the ampersand in VBA to concatenate. So we use the ampersand here, then we call on what? The app user. So So we have just concatenated. So whenever we run it, it returns to what? It returns what? Welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic, and basically that is that. And we also talk of what? How to write functions. And we said to write function, you begin with the function with a keyword, give it a name, you open and close parentheses. Now when you press enter, then you get to the end line of it. That is the end function here. And so basically that is that. So we have just written our first program in VBA. So now with all this, we can assign a pattern to run them. Okay, with what we have just created so far, these two procedures, sub procedure, the sub procedure and the function, we can just what use a pattern to return them or to trigger them. So how do we do that? Just like what you see in some of our in our trainings. So let's see how we can do that. We can just go to developer tab here, use this insert, then we call on this particular button here, we draw a button, then we just call this particular sub procedure, that is the name of the macro. Click on OK. So when you run this, you receive the message, welcome to KingTech Coding Clinic. If you want to edit it, you just right click, go to edit text, just go this way. You can say greetings. That is that. You run it, it returns that. You can equally go to insert and use shapes to do that. So choose this. You can format it the way you want. You want this. Or maybe right click, you want to edit text, you want to write something on it. Maybe just say greetings. You would want to maybe format it appropriately. So just bold it, then Times New Romans. You want to center it, put it in the middle perfectly. You want to make it grow up a bit. Then, so to assign that, you just right click on this, go to assign macro. You choose which use, that is the name of the macro. You click on OK. If you run this too, it returns that as well. So perfectly, that is that. Now, this is pretty useful or very useful whenever maybe you write a macro to do something. Let's say you write a macro, which we shall be doing. You are going to write it yourself. Okay, so I would want you to practice, to just practice this for now. Okay, see how this works. Just become familiar with this, how to write sub procedure. You've just written the first sub procedure, you've just written the first function, and then you see how they are executed, right? So that is that. So you are going to be writing a lot of macros. Let's say you write a macro to clear all what we have here. So after that, you need a button to assign that. So that is what we have just done. It is very easy and simple. So basically that is that. We have learned a lot. So yes, practice this over and over and prepare for the next lesson. So until then, I say thank you very much for watching and bye for now.